Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Happy Friday to you all. I hope you guys are doing well out there on this beautiful Friday morning. It is Friday, so I imagine most of us are feeling pretty great. If not, I certainly hope your day gets better. I hope you all have had a great week out there so far. I hope you all are having a great start to your weekend. I got you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for your Friday to kickstart your Friday and your weekend. Not a very active day at all, not a whole lot to speak on, but we will speak on what there is to speak on, which is the cold front that is crossing the country as I speak right now. This is bringing the coolest air of the season. A lot of people will get below freezing tonight, maybe even tomorrow night. If not below freezing, you'll get well into the 30s, creating frost. So for some people, this will be the ending to their growing season. So we'll talk a little bit about that in this video. We'll give you an update on Philippe and its expected impacts for areas of like Maine and Atlantic Canada. So we'll get you all covered in this video. I do want to give you guys a quick reminder. This will be my last video probably till Sunday morning, going to a wedding. Well, the wedding is tomorrow, but heading to where the wedding is tonight, and I just won't have any content for tomorrow. So I do apologize ahead of time. I know a lot of folks are saying, why apologize? Well, I'm a consistent content creator, and I definitely take pride in pumping out these videos every single day, and I hate when I have to miss. But of course, life happens, vacation happens, wedding happens, and just events. You get sick sometimes. I know you guys understand, but I always want to let you guys know. I don't want to leave you folks hanging, for you folks who tune in every single day, and that means the world to me. So if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put it in the comments below. And if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I kind of reversed those two just then. But let's get rolling. Good bit of things to talk about. Some interesting things to talk about. But in general, nothing too crazy to talk about, thankfully. So dry air is entering the picture. The water vapor loop does not show it very well, just because this is a pretty strong upper trough digging down here with an associated cold front, but you got moisture with this upper trough. It's creating a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, even though the air is much drier, which is allowing for a much chillier rain. There's still moisture in the atmosphere. That is why you never look. I wouldn't say never, but it's better when you're trying to gauge the humidity outside. It's much better to look at the dew points instead of the humidity percentage. A lot of people look at the humidity percentage, but it's very misleading. I actually made a video on that on my YouTube channel about 2 or 3 years ago explaining why, but it's very misleading. And today will be a great example of that in the northern portion of the lower 48 and the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes region. But anyways, not going to go down that wormhole or anything like that. But we already have a weakened boundary cold front that is weakened, is stationary kind of across probably this region right into here. This is weakening. This is already allowing you folks, and like in Arkansas, certain portions of the country, like the Mississippi Valley, to wake up to some more pleasant conditions than what you've seen. But the big time cold front is digging down right into here, around that area. This is reinforcing that dry, cool air, and this is what's really going to change the atmosphere. At the same time, you see this swirl off the coast of the east coast of the U.S. right out here. That is Philippe. Philippe is a very disorganized tropical system. Will eventually fully lose its tropical characteristics as it brings impacts to Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Maine, and portions of the Northeast. But dealing with some beneficial rain showers this morning in this region right here, but not everybody's seeing it. I can tell you that. In fact, I live right into here, and I'm definitely not seeing it. Everybody else, pretty quiet. This cold front is going to bring just drier, quieter, more stable conditions, that's for sure. If you look at the radar and what's falling out there, if you notice something different, I have the actual fronts on the map. And you can see the already weakened boundary right in here from that upper trough that, promoted all those severe storms across Texas. That is since weakened, and this will completely weaken, and then this will really replace it right here. You see this front right in here. This is our big cold front. Now, the dry air will lag a little bit behind it, but once this clears through like the Dallas-Fort Worth area today, Little Rock today, Memphis, Western Kentucky, the portions of the Midwest, most of the Midwest, it's already cleared through, but the Ohio Valley, basically, the dry air will filter in behind it, and you will notice a substantial difference in some of these areas compared to this morning. what you're feeling this morning to later this evening, especially as we're waking up tomorrow morning. But this is the big dog cold front right into here, and the cool air coming in behind it. But there is some energy associated with this upper trough and the cold front. We got some rain out ahead of this. Now, some of this is not reaching the ground. It's not as widespread as what this is indicating. I love this weather lab that these folks gave me a free subscription to use their site, and I use it in every single video, as you guys know. But the radar sometimes indicates rain that's not actually falling. For example, it shows rain over my house right now, but it is not raining. But some people seeing some good rain. It's not accumulating to much, but we'll take anything we can get. And then we got some more rain kind of slashing through areas in the Mid-Atlantic and the southern northeast region. So we keep on moving here. As far as severe weather, the excessive rainfall outlook, flooding, there's no concerns today. None at all, and it's really because of this cold front that's clearing through. When these cold fronts move through, it clears out all the moisture, all the thermodynamics in the atmosphere, brings cool, stable air. And cool, stable air is not an ingredient for severe weather or really any kind of crazy weather except, snow and winter weather. So in these counties right into here and the Great Plains and the Northern Plains, that is freeze warnings, okay? We got freeze watches north of the freeze warnings, but freeze warnings are up, okay? So it's going to get below freezing tonight in these areas. Most likely, typically when you get a warning, the confidence is fairly high that you're going to get below freezing. So growing season for some of these folks will end tonight into tomorrow morning. So it's just the changing of the seasons, and it just happens. And this is very common, all this dense fog, these dense fog advisories right here. Typically when you have an air mass, an area that's sandwiched between a moist air mass and a cooler dry air mass, which that cold front's right into here, it makes sense. You typically get fog. So this is not surprising at all. Typically you have a surge of moist air right ahead of a dry, cool boundary, which is a cold front in this place. You got red flag warnings up now. Unfortunately for the deep south, we really need some rain. And they got these up ahead of this cold front moving in because this cold front is going to be dry. Super dry conditions are coming for these areas. And, you're already very dry in the deep south, so you don't want to burn anything. Rainfall for the southeast, it'll be very scattered and smothered. Notice the Waffle House reference. I would love some Waffle House right now. But anyways, we'll keep rolling here. Some rain showers are possible throughout the day in Alabama. Western Kentucky, it's very possible. Could get a downpour up to West Virginia. Some scattered downpours are possible. Hopefully we can get some of this to be more widespread than when it shows on the H4R model. But by the time you get to 1 to 2 a.m. Atlanta, you might be seeing some rain showers. You might go to sleep with a dry ground, might wake up to some dampness. But this is associated with the cold front moving in, and some rain showers moving into the Triad, Southwest Virginia, Triad of North Carolina. Could wake up to maybe a downpour, and maybe Columbia, South Carolina, Charlotte. I'm hoping that happens. I'll be in Augusta for this wedding tomorrow morning, but I'm really hoping it rains. I'm really hoping it rains in my house and the H4R model is correct here. But this will come through, and then we're getting into tomorrow. Not a very active day at all for us folks. But I will show you this boundary with the cold front. So this is dew points. Dew points in the 60s and 70s indicate moist air. 50s is more pleasant. You're not really going to feel any kind of moisture in the air. But once you get into the low 50s and lower, that's when you start to get into that true crisp, dry air mass. So watch what happens today. This is starting off around 8 to 9 a.m. As you can tell, there's already a push of dry air with this associated boundary already in place, but the big push comes in and really just outruns the push that's already there. And then by the time you're getting into, this is around 11 p.m. Central Time. This is around midnight and Eastern Time. And here it comes, very moist in Florida. But look at Alabama, for example. The northern part of the county is starting to get that dry, cool air mass coming in. And then the southern half of Alabama is still very moist. But by the time we're waking up tomorrow morning, this cold front will be making, this thing is booking. It's moving in fast. This is a pretty aggressive, strong cold front. And by the time I'm waking up around 8 a.m. tomorrow, Atlanta, it's already cleared through. Greenville, Spartanburg, Birmingham, it's clearing through Mobile. Charlotte, it's making its way through. And I would say if you live anywhere from Tallahassee up to Columbia to Raleigh to Richmond. It's going to move through right when you're waking up tomorrow morning. It'll feel totally different. It'll feel totally different waking up tomorrow morning compared to tomorrow evening. When you got any outdoor activities, there will probably be a nip in the air. And this cold front really just beelines it towards the southeast. So dry air really takes over tomorrow, and tomorrow will be incredibly fall-like. And then Sunday, for some folks, will just be downright cool. Some people will struggle to get out the 60s, pretty far south. So getting up to the northeast, you're dealing with some moisture. There'll be a lot of scattered moisture about. This is what it could look like around 3 to 4 p.m. this afternoon. You got some showers, scattered downpours, maybe even some storm action in west central and western areas of Pennsylvania. The Finger Lakes region dealing with some downpours this afternoon, very possible. Downpours kind of screeching up the valley regions of New York State, maybe some downpours up into the Adirondacks. New Jersey, northern New Jersey could see some downpours. And this continues, and it more so moves more south to north before the cold front moves in later tonight and really forces everything to move a little bit more west to east. But, we're getting into this evening. You're still dealing with rain, especially for the western half of New York State, central Pennsylvania, down to the eastern panhandle of West Virginia. But I think it's going to be a very rainy next 24 hours at minimum for New York State. And then we're going to continue to be dealing with the rain tomorrow. Well, we could have a little bit of a flooding risk right here in eastern New York State, Vermont, down to western Mass, western Connecticut. It's very possible. We got moisture associated with Philippe coming up, and then moisture associated with this upper trough moving through that's going to become negatively tilted, provide a lot of lift for a lot of energy and shower and storm activity for the northeast for sure. And we got energy flying in behind it. South central U.S., pretty quiet weather. Some showers might drift into southern Missouri, but this cold front that's coming in, and in the south central U.S., it'll be more so coming in from north to south, almost northeast to kind of southwest, if you will, because this cold front is really digging towards the southeast, not more so to the south central U.S. That does not mean you're not going to get any cool temperatures. You will, but it's a really dry cold front. So if we take it through the next 24 hours, it's very quiet. But we look at the dew points. I mean, same thing. You're dealing with some somewhat comfortable air in the northern half of Texas, definitely in Oklahoma, northern Arkansas. Arkansas is a great state, for example, where kind of the northern portion of the state is pretty comfortable this morning. Southern portion of the state is comfortable, but a little bit more humid, Memphis included. All right, but you make our way into this afternoon, and then you get into this evening. Look at this dry air pushing through with a vengeance. Totally clears out the atmosphere. Look at this making it all the way into the Gulf of Mexico, all the way down to New Orleans. All right, just the unfortunate thing with this is it's not going to bring rain. But man, I mean, by the time we're waking up tomorrow morning, we're getting to about mid-morning tomorrow. I mean, this cold front is going to make for a very fall-like day across this entire area that you see. And, it's going to be beautiful fall-like weather. We just need the rain. If we could get some rain out ahead of this cold front, man, it would be awesome, but we're just not, unfortunately. North Central U.S., I don't know how many viewers I got in North Dakota, but, if you look at the radar right here, it does show some rain mixing with some snow in northeast areas of South Dakota, even some snow showing up in central North Dakota. You guys will have to let me know if you're actually seeing that. I would love to know. But associated with this upper trough, I mean, we're getting into this afternoon. We're going to be dealing with some kind of on and off showers throughout the entire state of Minnesota. Wisconsin, same thing. Just some rain, some drizzle. Could get some more heavier moisture that flies and develops over Lake Michigan and then begins to affect the western areas of Michigan. You guys could see some cooler thunderstorms this afternoon. It's very possible there's a general risk of thunderstorms in western areas of Michigan today. So, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, you guys could see some heavy rain this afternoon. It's very possible. And could get some scattered downpours in the eastern UP also. But behind it, just some cool rain that will fall today. And you'll definitely continue to deal with those downpours down the lower half of Michigan throughout the afternoon, evening, maybe even to the overnight hours. And then we are getting into tomorrow morning. And this is your typical lake effect snow setup, but in this case, not enough cold air. But look at this. Cool air going over the relatively still warm Lake Superior And look at those streamers setting up from north to south across the UP and Michigan. That tells us we're getting to that time of the year. We get cold air with this cold front that surges over this warm body of water in the Great Lakes. And you got some lake effect rain in this case. But you know that lake effect snow is on the horizon. It's coming. Western U.S., very quiet. Ridge of high pressure begins to dominate the region. And there's really absolutely nothing to speak on out west. I mean, dry as a bone. Nothing going on. Sorry to leave you guys hanging. There just ain't nothing really going on. High temperatures today. Enjoy the last warm day across the southeast. If you're a warm weather fan, same as the northeast, as unsettled weather moves in for the weekend. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see where this cold front is across the middle of the country. You can see the boundary here at around 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon. Cool air dominating the central and north central area of the country. The south central, southeast, and just the Ohio Valley and the northeast and mid-Atlantic hanging on to that warm fall air for hanging on for dear life. Cold air coming in, that's for sure. The western U.S., the northern plains, the north central U.S., kind of the upper portion of the country, the upper plains will remain cool. Some areas won't get out to 30s in North Dakota today, but you can see the western U.S. is starting to definitely get above average again, where a ridge is starting to bubble up over the area, so you're starting to get to well above average temperatures again across the western U.S. So that's it for the forecast today. Let's give you an update on Philippe. Philippe is a 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm, booking it at 18 miles per hour, which is booking it in the tropics world. So it's getting a move on, and it's going to do nothing but likely increase in speed. But this is the latest information. Let's see if there's any more information. It's the latest information from around 5 a.m. 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm. We look at the latest cone. Let me know what you're seeing in Bermuda if you're tuning in. You guys do have tropical storm warnings, but this is a very weird-looking tropical storm. And I think it will remain a very weird-looking tropical storm. Philippe has just been an odd storm altogether, and it definitely did not hit the gym this morning, that's for sure. And it's just struggling. It's just struggling, which is good. It's a good thing. But technically, it's going to forecast to strengthen tonight to a 60-mile-per-hour storm. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll become post-tropical sometime tomorrow. We'll lose its tropical characteristics. And now pretty much forecast the center of whatever is going on with Philippe at this point. Forecast to, make landfall sometime Sunday morning into the central coastline of Maine and then make its way into Canada. Will really just turn into a cold core storm altogether. But just because Nova Scotia, New Brunswick is not in this cone, that doesn't mean you guys aren't going to see impacts. We'll talk about that now. Here comes the GFS making that landfall. GFS is a little bit further east than the actual cone, but makes landfall kind of right where New Brunswick and Maine connects on the coastline, and really heads on through. Brings a lot of impacts, especially for extreme eastern areas of Maine. When I say a lot of impacts, I mean just a few inches of rain, some gusty winds. Nothing that you don't typically see in like a typical nor'easter. I really don't think. But there's going to be a corridor of strong winds, I think, works its way through Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But rainfall from the National Weather Service going for 2 to 3 inches of rain in eastern areas and northern sections of Maine between now and basically the weekend, between Sunday evening. So more rain expected. You guys are already waterlogged. You're going to get even more rain from this coming up. We look at the rain and we'll look at the winds for Canada. For Maine. Getting all tongue twisted. And you could get over a 40 mile per hour wind gust in Caribou. Down east areas of Maine, probably going to get some 35 to 45 mile per hour wind gust occasionally, not sustained, but occasionally. But we talk about our folks in Canada. I know you guys measure rain by millimeters, I believe, but Yarmouth, they're going for on the GFS ensemble, going for around 30 to 40 millimeters of rain. St. John, around 25 to 30 millimeters of rain. The rain begins to cut off substantially once you get into the eastern sections of Nova Scotia. Not going for much rain in the Prince Edward Island area, maybe 10, 15 millimeters of rain. And most of the heavy rain stays in extreme, I would say, western areas of New Brunswick and then eastern areas of Maine. But the worst winds is going to be on the east side of the system. So this will bring strong winds, and this is just the GFS, could be a little overdone, but this wants to bring like a 72 mile per hour wind gust into the Yarmouth area. You could get a 60 mile per hour wind gust into the St. John region. It's very possible. And just the entire western half of Nova Scotia could see some tropical storm force conditions. Now, I know you guys don't go by miles per hour, but I'm just showing you this to confirm that you guys could get over tropical storm force conditions, which is over 40 miles per hour. So if we compare this to kilometers per hour, which I know is what y'all use, 115 kilometers per hour in Yarmouth, 99 kilometers per hour in St. John, and all these areas right in here. It does throw a pretty gusty period into New Brunswick, probably getting into, I would say if we were to look at the timeline of this. So here it comes. This is around Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Winds really beginning to pick up in western Nova Scotia. Winds really beginning to pick up and the coastline of New Brunswick as we're getting into the overnight hours of Saturday and a Sunday morning, and then the rest of New Brunswick into the northern areas of Canada throughout Sunday morning. So I think this will move in and move out really quick, guys. You guys are going to have to let me know how you would compare this after this is done to Lee. I would love to know the comparison, but I don't think this is going to compare to dang, I'm brain farting the storm that caused you guys a lot of issues last year. I'm sorry, just brain farting, guys. But anyways, I don't think it's going to compare to that storm, which really wreaked a lot of havoc on you guys. But you're certainly going to see some power outages from this, I'm sure, and some issues. But that's all I got, guys. By the time I tune in Sunday morning, this will already be impacting you folks. So this will be the last update I have on this. You guys have a safe weekend. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the weather. It's going to be our first truly fall-like weekend of the season. So enjoy it. Have a great weekend. God bless all y'all, and I'll talk to you Sunday morning.